Welcome to the IT Career Energizer podcast. For anyone who wants to build and grow a career in IT, develop and improve your strengths and skills, be inspired and motivated by the successes of others, manage your career progression, and achieve your IT career goals. And now, your host, Phil Burgess.
Hi, Phil here. If you've been listening to the last few episodes, you'll know that from today, the IT Career Energizer moves to a 3 times a week schedule. So you'll get to hear new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You may have also noticed the new cover design when you downloaded today's episode, which has been introduced as part of a number of changes to the podcast. You may also be aware of the new IT Career Energizer Community Facebook group. If you really want to learn from like-minded people who are starting, developing and growing successful careers in tech, then this is where you need to be. As well as being able to engage with others, you'll also get updates about the podcast and have input into other changes as the podcast evolves. I want to make sure that the podcast is giving you what you need and your input is invaluable in being able to do this. So if you're serious about being successful in your career, I very much encourage you to join the IT Career Energizer community. And if you were listening to the last episode, where I interviewed Michael Bolton, you'll recall that I said I'll be making you a limited time offer during today's show, one that I hope you will want to take up. But that's coming up a little later, after today's guest interview, which is coming up right now. Welcome to episode 82 of the IT Career Energizer podcast. My guest on today's show is Kevin L. Jackson. Kevin is a senior information technologist specializing in information technology solutions that meet business-critical and mission operational requirements. Kevin is founder and CEO of GovCloud Network, as well as being a published author and a regular speaker. He has previously worked for companies including IBM, JPMorgan Chase, and SENTEL Corporation, following his 15-year career with the US Navy. So Kevin, can I ask you to expand on that brief introduction and tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Well, sure. But first, thank you very much for having you on your show. It is really an honor to work with people or try to help people as they enter their careers. But I had a little different entry. I went to the U.S. Naval Academy and I was a carrier pilot for about 10 years before I started working where I call the business of the Navy as a aerospace engineering duty officer. And I started doing a lot of information technology, and that's sort of how I got into the career, working with the Navy Space Technology Program with low Earth orbit systems and global IT networks, delivering information to global forces afloat, both the Navy and Marine Corps. So that's sort of how I got into information technology, actually.
Yeah, very different to most people's entry, I would have thought, into the industry.
Yes, but it actually got me, it was a good preparation because I was really focused on the mission of the Navy and how to get information out to forces afloat anywhere in the world. And this was like pre-internet.
Yeah.
So I sort of grew as the internet grew, understanding issues with global access to information technology, worked with the internet when it was the ARPANET, actually used, if you remember, HoTMetal, one of the first HTML tools.
Yeah.
Built some early websites, was working with service-oriented architecture, and all of that actually prepared me for today's modern world of everything on the internet.
Sure. I would have thought one of the things as well is it's very results-driven in terms of it's all about the end result, and that must have set you in good stead for your future career in IT.
Well, absolutely, because that is what IT is really about. It's about enabling the attainment of goals, either when I was in the military, the mission goals in public sector, whatever the organization's mission is, but in business, it's the same thing. Understanding and leveraging information technology to attain business goals.
Yep, absolutely right. So, Kevin, can you maybe share a unique career tip with the IT Career Energizer audience, one they may not know and probably should?
Well, I think the best thing to do for any career is to do something you love. If you're not doing something that you enjoy, you won't be good at it. So don't do a job unless you have a personal goal in doing it. Unless at the end of your time frame in that job, you're going to attain a goal of your that you want, and it should be something that you like to do or that you want to do.
Yeah, very much so. I do wonder sometimes, though, that people lose enjoyment for a particular job that they may be doing. Are there any suggestions you might have about how to keep your passion and enthusiasm for a role?
Well, yeah, you need to realize and understand that everything in life is connected. And no matter what you are doing, even if it's not at the core of what you love, it can link to what you love. So you will learn what you're doing and how it applies to your future. That's sort of a thing I always did. At the end of every year, I try to imagine where I want to be in 5 years and how the lessons I've learned in the previous year can be applied to attain the goal I want in 5 years.
Yeah, that's great advice. It's sort of using what you've taken on board over the recent period to understand where you might be able to go in the future.
Right. It's always you're always doing a course correction in your career. Don't expect to be right at the very beginning. You don't know enough to be right.
Yes. I think a lot of people think about careers as being linear, and they're not at all. They take all sorts of routes and paths and ups and downs, as you might think. So, yeah, totally agree. So, Kevin, maybe can you tell us about your worst IT career moment and what you learned from that experience?
Yeah, my worst IT career moment is when the company I was working with decided that it was going to go out of business and I no longer had a job. Yeah. that could put a fear in you, especially when you have a mortgage and a family to take care of. But once again, I learned the value of believing in yourself and not just taking a job, but managing your career. Because since I was doing something I enjoyed, I had built a network based upon my knowledge and understanding of my career, which made it relatively easy for me to identify my next step.
Right. Okay. And so moving away from your worst IT career moment, can you maybe tell us about your career highlight or greatest success?
You know, IT or highlights in your life come from things that you don't expect, right? And when I left the military, I worked for SENTEL Corporation, as you had mentioned earlier, and I was the chief technology officer. And I was the project manager for a payload processing project at NASA. And we actually processed the New Horizon spacecraft. I don't know if you or your listeners know what the New Horizon was, but you would certainly know when I tell you that's the spacecraft that just recently went to Pluto and took all those beautiful pictures.
Yes. Yeah.
So we were actually processing that payload and we wrapped it up. And at the time, I didn't really appreciate what was going on. So we did it. The rocket launched, and it sort of went out of my mind for 10 years until the spacecraft arrived at Pluto, and it said, "Oh, I worked on that," and then I'm praying. I hope it works. After 10 years,
it's rather a long time to wait to find out whether the result is actually what you wanted.
Exactly. So it opens up and it takes a beautiful picture, and you see that heart on Pluto, and you think, 10 years ago, I didn't realize that this would be a highlight in my career.
Yeah.
Just the thought of something that you did, you focused on, was able to be key to something that the whole world was watching.
Exactly. Yeah. So you made a definite contribution to something that the whole, or potentially the whole of humanity can benefit from.
Right. Absolutely. So everything you do is important. That's all I have to say.
So, Kevin, what excites you about the future of the IT industry and careers in IT in particular?
The thing that's happened with IT is that it's no longer, as they would say, a cost center. It's no longer just something you have to do to be in business. It drives business. It creates new business models. And if you're an information technologist, your strength is in your ability to take new capabilities of information technology and apply them to new business models. And that's what's so exciting, because the pace of change in information technology is driving an accelerating pace of change in business. And the technologist is at the heart of that. So, you say that the sky's the limit. Well, it's not the sky. It's not space. It's not Pluto. Anything can happen, and you can be the key to that just by imagining it.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. And we're going to move into the reveal round now. Are you ready for this? It's a quick fire questions and answers to try to get a bit more understanding of what your thoughts are about the industry.
Not sure if I'm ready, but let's go.
So what first attracted you to a career in IT?
The challenge. It seemed that the challenge was something that excited me. When I was flying aircraft, on and off aircraft carriers, and you think that's exciting. Yes, it is. But just dealing with information technology and the challenges of using it just drove me.
Yeah. What is the best career advice you've ever received?
So the best career advice actually came from a book, Sun Tzu, The Art of War. And it was basically, know thyself. If you know yourself, you can triumph under any adversity. And that's the best career advice I can give someone.
If you were to begin your IT career again right now, what would you do?
If I was going to begin my career, I would not focus too much on the details. That sounds kind of backwards in information technology, but you need to focus on the application of the information technology, not the details of information technology. You need to know it. You need to know how stuff works, why it works, but it's the end goal, how you're going to apply it. That's most important.
And what career objectives are you currently focusing on?
So right now, I've learned that your career is really mostly about your network. And the network in today's world is mostly not a physical network. It's a virtual network.
Yeah.
And social media has been huge in the past few years. In fact, I started writing my blog, Cloud Musings, because someone told me it was a good way of understanding my own thoughts, but it became a way of understanding other people's thoughts and communicating. And that exchange of information, that exchange of ideas really fired my career. It accelerated my career. So for the most part, I've been focused on networking, learning more about others and having others learn more about me.
Yep. And what's the number one non-technical skill that has helped you in your career so far?
Writing. Writing. I tell you, when I was in high school, I didn't write well. Before I went to college, I had to go to remedial writing. When I left college and I was in the military, I was always struggling with writing. But because I told myself I didn't like it and I didn't want to do it, and what did that have to do with flying a plane, or what did it have to do with doing information technology? But it has everything to do with everything, because it's about communicating with others.
Yes.
And you can't always talk to others. And the most communications are in the written form. And even if you talk, you'll have to translate it to writing it sometime. And when I started writing my blog, that is really what transformed my ability to communicate. So learn how to write.
Yep. Kevin, can you share a parting piece of career advice with the IT Career Energizer audience?
Yes. Don't underestimate social media, because the power of connections via things like a blog or the website or LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook are crucial in today's world and tomorrow's world. And remember, if it's on the internet, it's there forever.
Yeah.
So understand the power of networking and the power of social media and leverage it as a tool.
And finally, what's the best way we can find out more about you and potentially connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on LinkedIn and on Twitter. I'm Kevin_Jackson on Twitter, Kevin L. Jackson on LinkedIn, or if you just Google Kevin Jackson Cloud Computing, all types of things that come up.
Kevin, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. It's been great chatting with you.
It's been great. Thank you very much.
Hi, Phil here again. As mentioned at the start of today's episode, I've got a limited time only offer for you, which is coming up in just a minute. But before that, a quick thank you to Kevin for sharing his advice and experience in today's episode. As usual, you can find a show notes page for today's episode on the website at itcareerenergizer.com/E82. My guest on Wednesday's show is Michael Kennedy, an instructor and author for Develop Mentor. So as promised, I'm going to make an offer which I hope you'll be keen to take up. And the really great news is that it's absolutely free, but I will be asking you to do something for me in return. So what's the offer? Well, it's in two parts. Firstly, I'm offering 4 individuals the opportunity to be mentored by me for 1 year. We'll be working together throughout 2019 to put objectives and strategies in place that get your career moving in the direction you want it to. I'm not planning to do any more free mentoring in 2019, so if you're interested in being one of these 4 individuals, keep listening. Secondly, I'm offering a further 10 individuals a personal one-to-one 15-minute coaching call with me on Skype. So what do you have to do to be in with a chance of winning? It's very simple. All you have to do is leave a rating and review for the podcast in iTunes, and then private message me evidence in Facebook that you've done it. And you have to have done it by 9 p.m. GMT London on the 6th of November, at which point the offer closes. No exceptions. The winners will be drawn at random, So as long as you've sent me the evidence by 9 p.m. on the 6th of November, you have as much chance as anyone else. All winners will be then notified within a couple of days. I'm really looking forward to helping you take your career forward. That's it for today's episode. Thanks for supporting the podcast, and remember, if you're not growing your career, you're slowing your career.
Thanks for listening to the IT Career Energizer podcast. To find out more about building a successful career in IT, visit itcareerenergizer.com.